applications. One is ITSM, and after that you will have something called HRSM, CSM, and all of that, right? So ITSM represents IT service management. Similar to that, you have something called HRSM, Human Resources Service Management. You have something called Customer Service Management. Again, Project Portfolio Management. Like this, you have several applications, right? But the parent of all these application, or the core of all these application, is IT Service Management. So when you say IT Service Management, it contains incident, change, problem, and knowledge management. So I will tell you how these four are interlinked with each other. So I'll put KB instead of knowledge management. Okay. Let us say you have an issue. You have an issue with a laptop, or you have an issue with the server configuration. Anything. I mean, literally anything in the organization. You have an issue, and you want a specific team to address an issue, right? Because it cannot be done by yourself. Then you will raise an incident. So wherever you see the word incident in your back of your mind, you think it is an issue, right? So here are few of the incidents that have been raised by people in the past. These are dummy data, demo data, right? So here it says SAP sales app is not accessible. It is an issue, right? So somebody says that, hey, my SAP sales app is not accessible, and the other person says, can't access exchange server, is it down? Manager can't access SAP controlling application. Wireless access is down in my area. I can't launch my VPN client. Rain is leaking on the DNS server. Need help with remedy. How can we configure it? Sometimes people tend to, put request also inside incident. For example, if they need help, uh, it will be little confusing at a point whether you call it as a request or an issue. But just that, they are not able to operate something, you can still regard that as an issue, right? So employee payroll application servers down. So all these short description itself should be able, for you to able to understand what are the different questions that could come on an incident on a general basis, right? And again, there is something called P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. Each of this priority as a specific thing. Like, not everybody could raise a P1. P1 is something that is a global issue. Like the outlook is done, down for the entire organization. Then it is a major outage, right? If outlook is down for the entire organization, then the work schedule of the organization itself is at stake. At that time, that you can call it as P1. But somebody not able to access, one person not able to access something is not a P1. Don't get confused with that, okay? And P2 is something that is across a region, not around the world, but across a region. Like, let us say Hyderabad people are not able to access something, or a specific team. When I say a specific team, Active Directory team, the entire team has a problem, then you call it as P2. Otherwise, rest all minor issues can be regarded as P3, P4, P5, based on the impact and urgency of the issue. So, always you have a field called impact and urgency that determines what is your priority. You see, right? When you choose impact and urgency, accordingly, priority is autofill. Let's say impact I put high, but urgency I just put low. Changes to moderate, right? Priority gets auto set to moderate. Now I will downgrade the impact. I'll put impact is 3 and urgency is 3. Both are low. Then my priority is P5. No, it's a low priority. Not really a, it is an issue, but it's not really a threatening issue. So whenever a ticket is assigned, based on what is the category and subcategory you give. So you say that inquiry or help, or you give email, right? Automatically either gets assigned to help desk or Outlook team. These things and all is in the scope of the developer to configure. So how do we configure assignment group based on category, subcategory, and all will come back later. But any question with regard to how an incident process would work as such?
No, how to
Hmm.
put the priority as critical. So both should
You
be
will
high,
have,
right? Impact and
yes, yes,
urgency.
yes.
Okay.
But if you see, except for admin and help desk admins, nobody else will be able to create an P1 ticket. Why? Because this in all organization, when there is a P1 ticket, like literally everybody from every verticals, right? IT verticals, every tower leads will join the session. Like there's something called breakout room. You will have a war room to address the issue, because if it is a priority one, it has to be fixed by maximum 4 hours, right? Because when I say by the definition P1 itself, it means that is a global issue. So then everybody, all the top leaders will join the call and will see how they can help or contribute. So in a lot of companies, they will disable the option of high urgency high here. They will only keep medium. Why? Because is if somebody wants to really create a P1, they will have to contact help desk. They cannot create it by themselves, because somebody feels that, oh, this is extremely urgent for me, let me create a P1. It does not work like that. In organization structure, P1 has a separate definition, so we cannot teach this definition to everybody, right? So better companies will remove this options this high impact and urgency high will be removed from this form. And if at all somebody really wants to create a P1, they would have to contact help desk to upgrade their existing incident as P1. Now at that time, help desk will review their incident, will identify, oh, like okay, this is really a P1, and according to their calculation, they will either raise it or they will give the explanation to the user, stating, see, this is not how a P1 works. Like we will keep it as P3, P4, like that. They will give an explanation.
All right. One more question. So
Hmm.
with this instant, what is our job? So is it
Okay.
creating priorities or what? Or
Okay.
assigning this ticket to someone else?
Now, assigning this ticket to someone else is an help desk or some support teams. You remember I told that there are three different users. One is end users, the other one is ITIL users, IT
Yes,
or
yes.
ITL users. The other one is admins or developers, right? Our
We are
role,
admins.
yeah, our role is to develop this form. And right now, when impact and urgency is changed, priorities auto set, right? How is it getting auto set? Because people like us, developers and admins, do that configuration in the backend, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And when category and subcategory is set, this gets autofill, right? Assignment group and assigned to gets autofill, because there is a backend configuration. We are the people who develop that configuration. And the changing of the layout, these are all very simple admin stuff. Changing the layout, and and of course, if they say that, oh, I want to create a new field like technical notes, yesterday we created, right? So these configuration oriented stuff is what we do. And of course, as you go on, as you go on to this training session, we will also be doing scripting. Like for example, you cannot save this form without having to fill the short description, because short description is mandatory. So configuration such like, these are the things that we do.
So
Coming to, hmm,
to include all those fields, we need to script, right?
to include, we do not require script. I'll give you a small example. Now, to make short description always mandatory, you do not require script. Whereas you require short description to be mandatory only at a specific point. At that time, you require a script. By default, if the short description needs to be mandatory, then you don't require a script here. Like you do right click, configure dictionary. You remember I said dictionary represents field,
Yes.
and here you have a checkbox called mandatory. So you just mark it as mandatory, job done. But you want that short description to be mandatory only on a specific condition. At that time, it is important. Uh, uh, there is the partial scripting, and without scripting also we will be able to handle. But as the requirement goes a little more, more validation, more complications, then you definitely require some basic scripting.
Okay, got it now. Thank you.
Okay. I will also explain what is a change management and problem management. Change management, you remember I told you it goes through a phases of new, assess, authorize, schedule. You remember the stages, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So any configurations changes that you do to the organization, you have to follow the change management process, right? So this process you need to know because you work for the IT, but otherwise, whatever configuration we do here, same like that, but a different palette, a different pattern, you will have to do it in the change. As a developer or admin, I'm saying change form is again a similar form, right? It has a table, it has fields, it has client scripts, all of that, but just that the field names are different in change, right? From admins or developers perspective, both are nothing but ones with different logics and different fields, right? But since we all work in IT, it is important for us to know how what is the process of change management, right? The theory concept. And problem, the definition of problem is that if a same issue repeats again and again, right? If somebody says that, hey, SAP sales app is not accessible, okay, I raised an issue today, and they fix it for me tomorrow. What happened is, again next Monday I have the same issue, again they fix it for me another day because I raised an incident. This keep on happening every week, so it means that every week they are giving me a workaround. What is a workaround? Like a temporary fix, temporary solution. Now we tell them, dude, this is not a simple issue. Probably you have to find the root cause and fix the root cause such that it does not happen again, right? So, problem is, in general, you can say a recurring incident which requires the root cause. And coming back to KB, as the name suggests, knowledge base, right? So you will have a lot of articles inside that, and it could be some troubleshooting articles, or it could be some knowledge articles. Uh, an article could be anything, right? So all that will come under the concept of knowledge articles. Now, what is the connection of knowledge article with incident or change or problem is? So somebody is raising an incident that, oh, I don't know how to change my time zone. So there could be a knowledge article inside of ServiceNow that any somebody would have created that will give them instructions how to change their time zone, right? So having this knowledge article uh, removes the step of the user to raise the issue. Instead of that, you can just look at the article and you can close this, right? It doesn't have to reach an incident. Same like that, it goes, it might be of help for people who are doing changes, but people are, who are working on problem tickets as well. Any
Okay.
questions? Does that give the clarity?
Yes. Now it's
Uh,
completely
Mm.
clarity.
Ma'am, just one more small doubt, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
After making certain changes to basic configuration, how
Mm-hmm.
can we put them to default just by one click? Is there any option like that for basic configuration?
There will be an option, right? Okay, there isn't anything that stores as a history, but if you see, all of them are actually properties. Like,
Okay.
okay, there is something called system space properties. Okay, so you go to system properties, and under system properties, basic configuration UI 16. So this is where you have it, right? Um, Coming back to your on a question, there is no one click where it gets. reset to the existing defaults. But to give you a broader context, so these are all properties. This is the label of the property, right? It says page header caption. So I just hover onto that. It tells me that, okay. When I hover onto that, what does it tells me? Glide dot product dot
Okay.
description. Do you see it on my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I went to a table called sys underscore properties underscore listed dot do. I'll put it on chat for you guys. So in this table, in name column, so you just put glide dot product dot description, right?
Okay.
Yeah, glide dot product dot description. So you can see that it got saved here. So like that, what I'm trying to say is that each of them are one properties. You can see glide dot product dot name. This one is glide dot sys underscore default dot ts. So all these are one system properties, just to make it easier for us, just to make it easier for the admins or developers to do it. They have in out of box they have created one user interface, like wherein we can easily change, right? But again, coming back to your question, that is not possible.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hmm.
Yeah, under the theme section, it will available the default, I think. And the settings general theme is there, the top right corner. Yeah, on the theme section, is the system is that one default way. System is there right here. System black and white themes. Under theme section, yeah, the system is there right here. Yeah, that is the one which we change the colors and everything. I think here it will appear. I think
Okay.
actually
Okay, so
my basic configuration look
this,
like
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, this is
Whatever
system
we
settings, but this focus on the color, right? Color, probably the font size and stuff like that. But this logos, the modules that we give, setup here, we have this setup here and all, right? So that and all is coming up from this property only. So that will not change. This banner design is something, as you said, it can be changed in the themes, like
yes,
as
yes.
per how the user wants, they can change it. But otherwise, this all these things is something that is can be done in the property. And one more thing, if you notice, whatever we have saved here, it is nothing but default. For example, here I have put header background color is this a little blue, right? So if I switch to system, it tells me that it is blue. But if you see in your system, if you switch to system theme, it will show some other color. The reason is because the instance is considering whatever you have configured here as the system defaults. Now I will change this to some red. Okay, I'll save this. Afterwards, so afterwards when I change it, the default still sticks with this red color, right? So what I'm trying to say
Yes.
is that this left navigation, the color, the slight color changes and all, coming from the your user personalizations. Otherwise, the logos and all of that is stored inside the properties. The properties are rendered to you in such a way that it is easier for you to edit it. So for all that, you will have to change it. When I say you, not the end users or IT users, only admins have access to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ma'am, what is the use of activity format?
Okay. Yesterday we saw activity formatters like mm, okay, we saw several formatters. One of them is activity formatter, right? In activity formatter, you see all the activities. When I say activities, let us say you have an incident form, right? Here, this one is what you call it as activity formatter, right? Now, coming back to the question of what is the use? What do you think is the use of this box? You get to see the comments, right? Get to see the comments, and oh, this field was changed at so and so time, and oh, this ticket was created on so and so time. The entire activity of the incident, which field was changed when, let us say, the short description was originally laptop and somebody changed it to test 1, and again 10 minutes afterwards somebody changed it to test 10. Now people will from seeing the short description, people only know the current short description, right? But how do people want to understand that, oh, like previously the short description was like this and it was later modified, right? So you need to understand the activities happening to the incident. Okay, it was like this and it jumped to this. Like that, you need to understand the activities of the incident. For example, while creation, it would have been P5, and after that, somebody would have changed it to P4, or else assignment group at one point of time it would have been this group, and after 1 hour or 10 days, it could be some other group. So you want to understand the activity of the ticket, not necessarily every time, but there will be some scenarios, right, where you want to know, oh, okay, let's say, I changed this to some other group, but the ticket was created 10 days ago. Now we should not blame the new assignment group for that, because to their queue, meaning to their plate, it just came 10 minutes back, right? We cannot blame them saying, hey, you have been keeping my ticket on hold for 10 days. You cannot blame them. You have to give them that time because it just got created to them 10 minutes back. So all these basic information you will be able to answer for yourself when you look at the activity formatter. And if you see that, if you feel that this is too much of data, this is something always customizable, not configurable. Configuration, this configuration can be done only as an admin, but customizable, like um, personalize. To personalize, they can turn off, okay, I don't want to see when there is a change in assigned to, I don't want to see an attachment. So all of that, you can personalize it for yourself here, right? Next question, any questions? Okay, then we will jump into the regular sessions now. Right. So yesterday we were, looking at in details about these things, right? So I thought I would also tell you about this activity stream. So on the top, little right, you see something called activity stream, right? So what is this is, let us say, I am somebody who work for a help desk, or I work in the software assignment group. It will be difficult for me to look at open each of the ticket and see, right? So this one gives me a quick overview of what each ticket is about. It is an easy navigation kind of, you can say, instead of opening each of these tickets in a new tabs and checking. So you can just enable activity stream. So the short description is will tell this header is nothing but um, the header is nothing but the short description of the ticket. So all these are the tickets that was created by system administrator, or recently updated by the system administrator, you could say. So clicking up here will take you to the ticket. So you can either choose to open the record or just update your comment. Like for example, hey, can I have a status update? Something like that, you can quickly do it from here instead of opening the direct record. Otherwise you feel, oh, this is something I need to check more, then you click on open record. So it takes you to the full view of the record. And without even having to open the record also, you could directly add a comment. Test. I will tell you what is the difference between comment and work notes. You see a checkbox called work notes, right? So you enable this dabba becomes a work note. It's no longer a comment. Comment is something that is available for everyone. Work notes is something it is available only for ITL users. You understand the difference between ITL and end user, right? So comment is available for literally everybody, but work notes can be seen only by the people working on the ticket. Like let us say somebody is working on the ticket, they want to document the technical notes, but at the same time they don't want the caller or the end user to see the technical notes. It could be some server configuration details or something, but it is required as a process that he wants to document those data inside the ticket. Then he can definitely make use of the work notes, right? So I just give post. So that one is a work note, and the general one is the additional comments. This is the difference between work notes and additional comments. And I can also tell you there's something called watch list and work notes list, right? So whenever a ticket is assigned or anything changes, right? Anything important changes like priority or assignment group or assigned to or a comment is updated, an email is automatically sent to the caller and the assignee of the ticket. You cannot expect everybody to be always available in ServiceNow and look for the updates of the ticket. So there is some mode of communication that is sent to the caller or the assigned to whenever required. So that is all taken care. It is already available out of box. When I say out of box, already available in the existing system. In addition to the caller and assigned to, you find that somebody needs to be notified, probably the caller's manager or the some other team members. So you will have you will have to add their names to the watch list. So as the name represents watch list, any changes to the ticket will be notified to this persons. You can add more than one people, right? So you could relate watch list similar to comments, like anybody can see as long as they are added to this box. And work notes is something that you can give one or few more people in this list, and whoever's name is this on this list, they will be able to read all the work notes that is part of this incident, right? And these people also will be getting emails. So the advantage of work notes list apart from watch list is they will be able to see the work notes. This exclusive functionality is that they will have visibility to the work notes apart from the assigned to of the ticket. Okay, this is about activity stream and comments, work notes, and all. Um, okay, so in search, you have different types of search, right? See, in the search box, you see different options called run, save, and or. I guess you understand the difference between and or, right? So let me create a filter that could further explain this functionality. So we put that we want to see all the activist to ticket, and you're right. There's the difference between this and this and. I will come back to that later. But let me finish the and that is available on the same row. And short description. Short description is one of the fields that you have it in the incident. So you can use one of these. Short description starts with, ends with, contains, does not contains. All these are self-explanatory. This less than or greater than will always apply to only values which have numbers. Like priority is something that is numbers, but short description, description, and all are not numbers. An incident is a incident number is again a number field. So generally for short description and all, you would not use less than or is greater than or is and all. For this, you would probably use one of these. Starts with, ends with, contains, uh, till is one of, right? This is what you would use. Now let me put short description contains SAP, SAP. It doesn't matter, it can be uppercase or lowercase. So you give it as run. So it gives you all these records, right? Now I have a requirement wherein I want to see either this way or right or. So you can understand the difference between this or and this. Okay, let me fill it up. Active is true and assigned to is not empty, and short description contains um, laptop maybe, yeah. Previously there were 6 records, now there were 7 records. The reason is because there is one record. Okay, this record, right, it does not have the keyword SAP, instead it has the keyword laptop. So as a result of this second section of the filter, this record shows up. The rest all 6 records shows up because of this filter. Now I had shown you an example using this big or, right? um, I will also show you another example. This or represents uh, an or condition between the previous condition and the current condition, but this or is thus it's like a subset of the complete condition. Either this box has to satisfy or this bottom bigger box has to satisfy. So it works like that. Okay, now the count increased from 7 to 10. Why? Because is, as you could read, uh, we are asking the system to render the tickets which are active as true and short description contains SAP. Otherwise, this condition has to satisfy true, or this four condition has to satisfy true. What is this four condition? Is active is true, assigned to is not empty, and short description either laptop or work. So this one you can either put it as like this, or you could possibly use is one off. Like let me show. Number is one off. So you just start up with a new line, right? Now I give or run. So I see only 6 records. The reason is because I see record number 55, 52, 53 because it satisfied the bottom 3 conditions. The other 3 records I see because those 3 records contain the keyword SAP. SAP, SAP, SAP. Any questions with regard to how do you use an AND or and this and or? Okay. Okay, so let us say you saved this, okay? So for easy access, so you might want to create it as a favorite, like active SAP, oops, sorry, create favorite. So you give it as active SAP incidents, right? And give it a done. So it will start appearing inside this place. The other one is also you can save your own filters, like filters, right? This view option, you know, right? There are different views to a form and the list. Same like that, group by show, refresh list, create favorite and all is already you are aware of. I will explain on to details about filters. So you can see that there are already existing saved filters. Let me choose one of these. So I go to filters and I choose active. I just leave my screen. I can see that the filter has been reset to active is true. Again, let me look at the other filter, active unassigned. So it says that assigned to is empty and active is true. These are like existing filters that is already created by the system. Again, assigned to me, right? So this gives you an idea of how it is beneficial to have filters like this, right? These are for easy access and navigations of the ticket. Like this, you can create your own filters. Like You have to give edit personal filters, and you have to give new SAP active tickets. Okay, laptop issue tickets. Okay, active is true, and short description contains the keyword laptop, or description contains the keyword laptop. Now I'll go to the list of incidents. Here I will choose from the filters laptop issue tickets. You could see that it is already set. So this is something, it will be very handy and useful for people who work on tickets. And there are some shortcuts as well, like as in there are something called like, um, if you know the exact word, instead of clicking onto this filter in Excel also, when you use, there's always a shortcut, right? Like that, you have in ServiceNow also, you have always have a shortcut. Like there is an operator called equal to. You have to just paste which one are you looking for, right? So I don't have to click those filter icon and do it and all. If I know it, I'm looking for a word called a sentence exactly by this word. If I'm sure, I'll just put equal to and do this. And if I'm not sure, I know that okay, it starts with SAP, I'll just put SAP. So it will show me the list of short description that starts with the keyword SAP. And if I want contains, right? So contains is something like wildcard search. So you would have to put star and SAP. So when you put star SAP, it shows a list of records wherein short description contains the keyword SAP. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the beginning or in the ending, but anywhere in the sentence. So it has SAP here, it has SAP here. So it could be anywhere in the sentence. The word itself means contains, right? And this exclamatory mark is there, right? So it's called negation. So negation means not. So not contains SAP. Let me give it a run. So there are 33 tickets which does not have the keyword um SAP. So as you can see, as we do this here, the filter gets automatically set in a certain way. Here you can see the meaning of that. Short description does not contain SAP, right? Like this, you have several shortcuts. These shortcuts would be helpful and handy to access the system faster. But you do not have to
Do
worry
we
about
have
it right now. Hmm.
hello? Yes.
Yeah, tell me.
Do we have another shortcut for that contains and negation?
Contains is star,
So contains is star, right?
right?
So as well as negation, that I need laptop word to be contained and SAP not to be contained.
Okay, you cannot do it together. So,
Ah, that's what my question is.
short description contains laptop, and short description does not contains SAP.
Hmm.
Run it, right? So it has to be done via list, filter only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about personalizing list controls, right? So if you, for your better knowledge, always in incognito open a user called ITL user. There you will find a user called ITL user. You will identify what are the things that are available extra as an admin and which are the things available not available for an ITL user. For example, an ITL user will still be able to see something called gear icon, but um, they will not have access to do right click. In right click also, they will not see this configure options. They will see export Excel and all, but they will not be able to see configure options. Um, as I told you yesterday, this gear icon is available for everybody, like ITL user, normal users, because it is their own tickets and it is like a personal preference. Like in this form, in this list form, what are the details I want to see? I want to see number, open, short description, but also maybe I want to see who's the caller, right? So they can definitely change it, um, change their personal configurations. But you want to push a configuration for everybody, right? At that time, it comes to the requirement of the developer. So what you would ask be asked to do is do a right click, configure. You remember doing a form layout, right? Form layout, you identify which field comes beneath what, how many sections. Like that, you have an option of list layout as well. So I give configure list layout. So here I get to choose what should be available in the default configuration. So I see that in self-service, these are the three columns: number, open, and short description. In default view, you have number, short description, caller, and all of that. Let me bring created and created by as well, and I will give save. Now here you have a view called self-service view, right? And we saw just 2 minutes back that in self-service view you were able to see only three fields, right? Number, open, short description. But here this user is able to see multiple fields. This is because he has personalized his choices. Now there is an option to reset to column defaults, right? This will be available for everybody. So when they give reset to column defaults, you can see that back to original configuration. They are able to see only the three things that are originally designed for this view. Same applies to all other views also. So let me change the view to default view. In default view, you will not be able to see the field called reset to default column. Why? Because whatever I see on my screen is already default. You remember, right? We just added created by. So whatever I see on the screen is already default. So this button no longer appears. For example, I just move few things and bring in few things. I just mix up the list as per how I want. After that, if you click on this gear icon, you will see this button called reset to default, right? So this is with regard to personalizing list layout and configuring list layout. And let me give you a few things about list controls, list calculations. So I did list calculation on priority field, right? So you would always do calculations only on number fields. So this one is in fact a number, even though it appears to your eyes that there is a word called HIGH, high, critical, and all. But in fact, in backend, these are all numbers: 1, 2, and 5. So you always have an option to uh, bring some calculations around this field. So I go ahead and do a right click on this field, and I do go to configure and list calculations. So it asks me what do you want to do. So I say okay, I want to look at the average value. So it takes an average of this thing: 5 plus 1 plus 2 divided by 3. So this is the average. It might not be the right example for priority, but let us say um, you have some tables wherein you enter some cost details, or you enter some rank details, like that. At that time, these average, the scorecard will be really handy. So all these you'll get to know when you really get into real time requirements in the IT industry. Okay. So in list you see a button called new and all of that, right? So where do you change it is list control. Right click, configure, list control. So I give omit new button. There's a button called new, just omit that. I don't want to see it. So this got hidden, right? You no longer see a button called new here. So these are the few things that you could do from list control. So like that you have several other options. Um, Omit edit button, omit if empty, omit columns is if empty, right? Let us say that you have one field called technical solution. You have added it in the layout as well, but if the entire list is going to show that as empty, you don't want to show it in the form, then you will just put it like omit if columns is empty. So all this is something that is available only for admins. Now if you see, just a minute back I enabled a hierarchical list, right? So I'll show you what is an hierarchical list. Before that I'll tell you how did I enable it. So I go to configure list control. You see a checkbox called hierarchical list, right? So I enable that and give update. Now the moment this triangular thing that starts showing up. So what is this hierarchical list is, when you generally open the incident in new tab. Okay, solutions. Okay, load related list, right? You see task LAs, SLAs, affected CAs and all of that. These are related list, right? So whatever is there in the related list, you do not have to open the record to see it. Instead you can see it from the list view itself. So that is what you call it as related list. Since we do not have any proper related list records showing the box, the tables as empty, but if there are any records available here, it will show up directly here. You do not have to open the record to see this. These are like quite kind of shortcuts, I would say. Any questions on uh, any questions on this hierarchical list? All right. Finally we'll sum it up with plugins for today. So as I told you, when you purchase an instance, it comes with ITSM, right? Excuse me for a minute. I'll just close the door and come back. Yeah, thank you. I'm back. So I told you that in out of box you have something called ITSM. Like that, you have packages called HRSM, CSM, and all of that. In right now the trending industry, not just ITSM is in thing. ITSM is very basic. On top of it, you have HRSM, CSM, project portfolio management, and all of that. Now, how would you enable that in an instance? For example, if I type case, I don't see anything, right? But if you might realize that if you had worked in few ServiceNow instances, there would be something called HR case or cases, project, something like that. But why is it not appearing in your system? It is because you have not activated that, right? I'll repeat again. If I type case, I don't see anything called case. But if I type incident, I see incidents. This is because incidents comes under the package of ITSM, which is a default and free package when you get add on when you get with your original foundational ServiceNow instance. But how do I bring in case management? How do I bring in HR case management and all of that? I can bring all of that when I activate the respective plugins. So how do we activate the plugins is the next question. So I go to plugins. right? You just have to type in plugins and click on plugins. Probably few versions back, we had this option of activating the plugin only after reaching the vendor, but now we have option to activate it by ourselves. So I click on plugins, give it a minute for it to load. So you will see a lot of plugins coming up here. So I will show you the list of plugins we have. We have like 100 plus plugins actually. Okay. Okay, so in the left side, you can see something called filters, right? The list of plugins that have been already installed, not installed, which requires update, and which has been customized, and which are free and which are paid. So every company will have a product manager with ServiceNow. So they will have the details of what is the pricing of each plugin. For everything, there is a cost associated. So as developers, we should also have some basic knowledge, because only then as you grow, up the like a technical lead or probably a architect, uh, you would be the person to choose whether to purchase this plugin, is it really helpful and all of that. And plugins are again categorized based on whether it is a customer service, software asset management, or IT operation management. So like that, there are some categories you could split it upon. And you can see what are the free plugins available, what are paid. So let me choose the free plugins which are not installed, right? So you have these many agent chat and all of that. So that is why I told you ServiceNow is a big concept. All of these you can learn easily when you have your core ready. Now let me show you a plugin called human resources core management. So all the companies have a HR strong HR vertical, right? So they would be using a separate tools for that. So instead of that, they could use the human resources uh, plugin that is already available in ServiceNow. It comes with demo data. It comes with all existing configuration. So as a developer, you will have to sit through and read through the documentation and explain it to the business, saying, "Look, this is how it is designed originally. Now what are your proposals to change? Like, you want to change the form, you want to change this thing, you want to bring a new workflow, you want to enable a notification." So all these you will sit with your product managers or process owners, and you will finalize, you will draft the development requirements and do it, right? So you even the paid ones you can install in personal instances, even though it says paid, right? uh, Human resources that I've given is in fact a paid one, but I can install it in my PDA, not a problem. It costs you only if you want to. It costs you only if you want to do it in your company instance. In company instance also you have instances like production, development, test instances. Only enabling it in production instance will cost you. Otherwise, no cost. So what I've done is I gave install. So it tells me that these are the dependency plugins which will be automatically activated upon activating this particular plugin. So I say, yeah, okay, and I enable load demo data. Demo data is something like, see, we did not create this incident, right? It was available as a demo data. Like when you have an instance, they don't want to give it as a clean canvas, they want to populate some data and give you so that you have some decent understanding. Like that, when we install the plugin also, we for some reason we wanted demo data so that we understand the process. So we enable that and we activate it. It will take some 2 to 3 minutes for the plugin to activate. It might extend up to 5 to 10 minutes also. So this is how you activate a plugin. The plugin activation and all is comes as an admin role. It doesn't require any technicality as such, but few basic steps. So this is gonna take its own time. Let us leave this tab and jump to the next tab to do whatever we have. Okay, so as for today, we have finished all the navigations, user settings, forms and list. How does a form look like? How does a list look like? Next, from tomorrow onwards, I will jump in detail about the proper table creation. In yesterday's session, I showed you a very simple and a basic table, which does not require a lot of complexity, right? We will drive it from there. Like we will extend the table to add more logics, more configurations, and so by then you will get to know what is a client script, what is a business rule, how can we configure notifications, how can we do validations. All of that you will know when we develop the table further. Do you have any questions so far, and did you get any questions while trying to practice a table yesterday? Okay, so okay, all right. So if you guys have created a developer instance, could you just give me have you created an account for me? Like you remember, in one of the previous session, I told you create an account for me with admin access and give me the URL of this, right, and username and password to access that particular instance, so that I
Madam,
can review your work.
could you please tell me how to create that access for you, admin
Okay,
access?
okay. Now, you go to users. Okay, under system administration you have something called users. um, okay, so let me put Vishnu. So I'm going to create new account for Vishnu, and I what I will do is I will share this URL chat. I'm sharing this URL to all of you guys. Also I'm going to share the user ID and password. So I'll put Vishnu.snow, and remember, the user ID should not have any spaces or special characters, just dot something like that is enough. And first name is Vishnu, last name I'll put Snow. Snow represents service now. Okay,
Okay,
I'll put developer. Password is something is important, so I'll put like
admin.
I'll just put password. Okay, nothing much. Password is password, and I do right click save. Now I will share this credentials with you. So I have already shared the URL with you, with all of you guys, in fact, and I have sent you the username, and the password is nothing but password, right? The next thing I got to do is load related list, because related list is the place where you have roles and everything. So here you have something called roles, right? So you give an edit, and you give admin. and you push it to the right and save it. Give admin and security underscore admin role. Okay, there is one more role called security admin. In order to grant that role for this guy, I myself have to elevate my roles. So in profile, there's something called elevate roles, enable security admin, and then go give OK. Afterwards, wait for a second, and then go to roles and give security admin. But for now, you don't confuse any of these. You just create a new account with some unique and first name, last name, and a password, and give ADMIN admin role to that user and share that credentials with me. So all these you created in your instance. Now, so anybody in this class, if you try to access this link with these credentials, you will be able to see my instance.
So that means someone is impersonating my account, right, ma'am? So
No, they are not impersonating the account. This instance is not meant only for me, right? This instance can be used by several users, right? See,
sorry.
in your no, let's say you work for a XYZ company, okay? In XYZ company, Vishnu is not the only person who is the developer. There can be 10 developers, right? So they cannot have one developer account and share the credentials with everyone. It should be 10 different developer accounts, right?
Yes.
So now I have created an account for Vishnu. What Vishnu can do is go since he has admin is since he is an admin, he can go and change his password. So that right now I given the password as just PASSWORD. He can just change it to something that he feels, so that I don't know, and he can
Yes.
continue to use that. Like he can reset the password once, because I have just created an account for him. I have shared him a password. It is important for him to reset the password, or else if he wants, he can use the same password. These all security things comes when you jump into company instance, but this is just personal instance, right? It is no, it will not create any harm. It's okay if you all of you guys log into my instance with this credentials that I have shared with you, because it's just a personal instance, and this is created exclusively for this training module.
So we have to manipulate data. Like, so we have to create a table, something else, using this same instance, right? Using this account, like
No, you do it in your company instance, I'm saying. Sorry, not company instance, your personal instance.
yes.
Whatever development you want to do, you do it in your personal instance. But what I'm telling you is that you create an account for me and share the credentials with me, so that at any point you say that, oh, I have, I cannot see. For now it is easier, like after 1 week you will all start learning client scripts and UI scripts. At that time you will have an issue in your script. Now I need to come into your instance and debug that, right? To make it easier for both of us, I'm saying create an access for me in your instance, so that I can open your instance and see what you have done and what mistake you have done, and I can correct it and I can explain it quickly in the next class. Otherwise,
Okay.
addressing everybody's issue in the same class will we will not have time, enough time in it.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Right, all right. So I'll create another account called student account, and probably anybody who wants to talk to me can use that, connect search, and you can post me questions. So this one, let it be an open account. Right. Anything else? If not, we'll wrap up the session for today. I'll just give ITL role, not admin role. All right, guys. So I've disabled sharing. Any questions further to this? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Take care. We'll meet again tomorrow. Bye.